Well, maybe we might have to understand it better how the culture actually is configured, how it plays out. Yeah, there are some cultures in Africa, not only in Nigeria, where they may seem to be dominant in
Yes.
most of the cases.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really think this one is even only African in many parts of the world. If you look at maybe within the area of economy, in politics, even in religion, because I know you grew up from a
Yes.
home that is highly religious, no?
Mm-hmm.
So I think even looking at it from that perspective, they may have always played
The
a kind of
vital role
dominating role.
in anything,
Okay,
in
uh,
anything. But
okay, okay.
I mean, just in terms of certain things in the home,
Mhm.
or I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain it, but there are just some factors that the women really have no say in.
Hello and welcome to Obehi Podcast. I'm your host, Obehi Ewanfo, and I strongly believe that everyone has a story to share. Now let's get started into this episode.
That's where I was getting at, because generally, even not even looking at a place, as you said before, everywhere you go, men are in charge everywhere. I've lived in different places and men are always in charge. So, but I think it's just the extreme that I'm talking about for certain things.
Mhm.
That's really it. And it's nothing to say men shouldn't be in charge, because I solely believe a man really should be in charge of his household. So it's,
Mhm.
yeah.
All right, I'm not going to debate that with you.
Yes.
It's okay. I leave it the way you see it.
Okay.
All right, now, Gloria, when you were growing up, I'm trying to understand now. Now you're beginning to get to like 15, 16. Now you're beginning to have your food, no? You know,
Mm-hmm.
when we are small, when we are really very young, we just take order from our parents. They tell us that this one is red, it is red. We don't even have any opinion towards it, no? But at a point, we begin to contest almost everything. So when you started to sort of find your personal identity, let's say contested, becoming a little bit rebellion, what did you define as your own path, and what sort of guide you into the direction that of what you want to become in life?
So mine started from a long time. I was always contesting everything. It wasn't later on.
Okay, so I've read your mind so hard. Huh?
So it wasn't later on. It started a long time ago. My father's always said, your voice is important. And if you have anything to say, you say it. I don't think he went to the extreme to explain how to. So it went in different directions at certain times as how to say things, because from a child I was very blunt. Anything I had to say, I said it. And it got me in a lot of trouble. So even knowing that, I have realized from I was a younger age that I'm a people's person. So I like having conversations with people. I like discussing, and I like helping. So it charted a way for me now to want to be a social worker. Not necessarily a social worker, but I wanted to be in a situation where I can help people, especially having conversations with them and talking to them about what is happening with them and how to go about that. So that's when my mom said I should do social work, which I did. And it has opened up, new horizons or new ways in order to even cater to persons and talk to them. My The need to do that for me was great, but then there were aspects of it that it doesn't really resonate with me. And that is when I think I went into media in terms of working on the radio or doing, entertainment, reaching people that way. I wanted to do that, and which has now led me to have my own podcast. So I just like having conversations, learning, and not just learning in a classroom setting, which is black and white chalkboard, but learning where we can conversate about different topics. It doesn't have to be just dealing with heavy topics. And when I say heavy topics, I'm talking about like divorce, like suicide. I'm not talking about those. I'm just talking about things that people should know. Being an entrepreneur, monetizing yourself, helping yourself, and elevating yourself to be the best person that you can be, just loving self. So from when I was a child, that was where I was. And I think I saw my father doing a lot of that. Because both parents are counselors, or were. My father has died, but both parents were counselors, along with being pastors. And I saw how my father loved entertainment. My father was always on the radio. He was always on the TV. He was always writing books. So those things had led me also to, I love seeing that. I love how he does that. And this is something I want to do. Yeah.
So the thing is the family,
Yes. Yes.
So just for the curiosity, what does your father write about often? Is it a kind of maybe history, or is it the same line that you are just saying now?
Well, my father was a deliverance minister. So most of his books were written about deliverance, because that's what he left from Nigeria to go to Jamaica to do a lot of deliverance sessions. So that's really what he wrote about.
All right. Thank you for that. That is interesting.
Sure.
So yeah, I think at the point we are all in a journey. And look at you now. You were born in Nigeria. You grew up in Jamaica, but right now you are in the United States.
Yes.
So somehow, no, just like me, I grew up in Nigeria, but now I'm in Italy. Who knows? Maybe tomorrow I have to be in Nigeria. Okay, now your destination, US. Do you want to tell us anything about that? Why you didn't want to remain in the Jamaica? Why you decided to move to the United States?
Well, all right. So I was in Jamaica. I was married. After a couple of years, I got a divorce, and after some time, I decided to date again. I actually was dating someone who lived overseas. So that's why I'm here. I got married to someone who lives overseas. That's really all to it. It was never a decision to say, oh, I'm going to leave. I don't want to be in Jamaica anymore. So I'm going to leave and go to the US. That was never the case. The just case is that I met someone and he lived overseas.
and now the focus, what is moving is love. So where love tells you to go,
you go. You pack up.
All right.
And you go.
All right, that's interesting. Okay, before we get to your podcast, which I really find to be very interesting because we're going to spend some time there just now, what would you like to tell us about Jamaica?
It's a beautiful place. I'm not even going to lie to say there is nothing bad there. There are. But I mean, it's a beautiful place. You have persons who, when persons have your back there, they actually really do have your back. And I'm going to talk about the food again because the food on there is really good. But and I think their educational system is great. They have a great educational system. And I mean, I think most of the people are nice there. I mean, it's Jamaica is a really nice place to go and live. It's really nice.
That's lovely. All right. Now, you are in the United States and you have this podcast, Unfiltered. That is the name.
Yes.
Yeah. Unfiltered. That is very important.
Unfiltered by GAde. Yes.
All right. So tell me, how did you get started with this podcast?
All right. So as I said before, I was working. I was doing some radio programs before, and then I left and migrated here. I did not want to just stop doing anything radio like because it's something that I really liked. It took a while for me though to decide if I want to continue or what do I want to do at this point. And when the pandemic had hit, that was last year, I said to myself, well, I mean, most of us are working from home now. So there is some time to get something done that I still like doing. So I decided, hey, let me start the podcast. And that's how it started. So The Unfiltered by GAde. I called it The Unfiltered because we talk about any and everything. But we do it in constructive ways. So it's not just, it's not just a podcast where you're just, it has no basis, basically. So I do a podcast that we can learn about everything, but we talk in an unfiltered way. So we talk about everything and we're transparent about everything without hiding things, because I realize people know about certain subjects, but they don't know it to the extent, because sometimes people don't want to talk about the dirty part, or people don't want to talk about the hard part. We're talking about all parts, hard, easy, how to maneuver it, how to go about it. That's what the podcast is about. That's what it's geared to.
If you enjoy this podcast, make sure you subscribe so you never miss any of our future episodes. Rate and review Obehi Podcast and share with your friends who might need it. I remain Obehi Ewanfo. Thank you so much for listening and talk to you in the next episode.